Good morning, everyone. This is Natasha Telliker, and welcome to our TA call. Today we have a very short agenda. We just have one update, and so if you have any questions that you want to have answered, specific questions, go ahead and put them into the chat pod, and then we'll make sure we cover that information. One of the things that we have added to the invite process is the ability to kind of see, or not to kind of, to actually see how many people have been invited to an orientation already. And this really came out of the whole decentralization piece with the Region 1, because they have multiple feeder sites that are feeding into kind of the various pods where the orientation is going to take place. So one of the things that has been added is whenever you go in to invite a DHS customer, and I'm on test here, you'll see, you click invite, and you go to invite the person, and when you select invite and you hover over the date that you can assign them or to invite them to orientation, you can see how many people are already scheduled for those appointments. So like you see, on the 19th, they have nobody scheduled for morning or afternoon sessions. On the 25th, we have 2 people scheduled for the morning session and 1 person scheduled for the afternoon session. Now, one thing to know about this is it's simply informational. We didn't put a cap on it. Oh, I'm sorry. I just noticed I will make this much larger. There you go. The other thing you can do is I just made my share screen larger. In the upper right-hand corner, there's an icon with arrows that point outward, and that'll make it full screen. Let me go ahead and see if I can come over here and zoom in a little bit. So I hit invite, go to invite the person, I get my calendar, and I can see the sessions. And as I mentioned before, there isn't a cap on this. It's just simply informational. So if you know for your orientation session that you have, 10 spots, 10 computers at your location, but, based on the history of, what you've learned from inviting people to those sessions, maybe you have to invite 20 people in order to get 10 people to show up. So again, there's no cap on it. It's simply informational. So if you go to adding them to that date, then the next piece that we added is that you have to select either morning or afternoon. And we're just trying to keep it real as simple as possible. So if you for your upcoming events, just select morning or afternoon. And then that's that. And that is really our only update for the intake piece this week. I don't know, Olivia, did you have anything that has, come up that you wanted to cover?
Not really. Nothing that I can think of.
Okay. Were there any specific questions, anything that has come up during this week? Anything with orientations, anything as far as filling out, any paperwork as far as 2151, 2151A? Okay, so you had a question about the drug test question, okay. Did you want me to unmute the phones? Would it be easier that way? Let me just go ahead and do that.
Your microphone has been turned on.
Okay.
Okay, I do have a question. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right. So when they're inviting, because I'm a pod office, and when they're inviting, will we be able to know, we're going to know when we're full and we're not, so I can print out that Excel list to know who I'm expecting?
So you're going to,
Because I know I'm going to be able to set how many people should be in each session.
mm-hmm.
And therefore, will I be able to go in and say, okay, this many people are expecting, or this date is full, and I know it's full, just in case someone calls and says, well, I'm trying to get someone in for the 15th.
Well,
and
whenever you go
signal
to
me this date is full? Because I know you're still in
no,
test.
there's absolutely nothing in there that's gonna. We don't want to create more work and have people go in, like for you guys to have to go set capacity limits on each day. So no, it's not going to say whether it's full or not. But if you know that you're sending them to a certain location and they only have 10 computers, then you'll be able to see that for the morning session, if 15 people are already scheduled for that session. I mean, you probably could send them to that session just because we know that some people don't show up. I mean, I guess you'd have to kind of know, like the history of, like, are people showing up? Are they not? If you invite 20 people, do only 10 people show up?
Okay.
It's going to be different for a different area. So I think that, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that you would probably have to over-invite, in order to fill those seats. But, if you guys are pretty dead on with the people that you invite, and
Well, Natasha, is not that. Is we also have the ability to bring people in just from our own office. So if I'm at Northwest and I know that the pod offices don't have the ability to do orientation here, I may not do invites from my office, but I'll do invites from my office on Mondays and Wednesdays, and leave Tuesdays and Thursdays for the pod for the other offices. But if they're under, then I can have my people from intake also come in and fill those days, so I can also still make my number. So it's not that we can't fill those slots, but if we don't set some type of capacity, we'll have 30 people in the room where we can only fit 15.
Okay, but Natasha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so they can tell you, so we're setting the limit of the number of people that can be scheduled on those days, correct, or in those slots. So they can't over-invite.
Yeah, no. There's no capacity. We don't enter a capacity in there. It's just informational, but
No, well, we need to be able to set it. I guess maybe that's my misunderstanding. I thought that, similar to the way we were scheduling with the CBOs, that we would set the number of slots available for each of the pod offices so that people could only schedule up to that amount, because we are going to have to be able to control that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good because that's a different thing for across the state. Some people might have to invite, double the amount in order to get half the people there. But, I mean, when you go over it, if you know that you only have 10 spots, then that would be something that would be, what you would have to know in your region. How many people are you going to allow? Are you going to invite 15? Are you just going to invite 10? And it's not, I mean, you can invite for any day that's on there. I mean, it's not, it's like I said, it's very much informational, so you can make the decision as to who needs to be invited, what day.
Natasha, I hear you, but I know Region 1 is very different from the other regions. But what's different with us is, unlike the other regions, we're on site. Ours are in our sites. So if there's an issue where, say we did set a limit for 25, and only 10 or 11 showed up, we still can get our numbers from service coordination or intake because we're on site and we still have people coming in, and we can then allow the people at our home office to give us folks. So we do have other options, but we can't allow, we say send us 50, and then if those 50 show up, I only have a room that can take 15 to 20. So we do have to set some reasonable limit, because I'm also taking from, my office is taking from 3 to 4 offices.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's a training part of it, that we would say that for Office A, you don't schedule any more than 15 or whatever it is.
But you're saying that the 3 to 4 offices, these other people at these different offices don't see each other, are not communicating, and they're just dropping in. And if the queue does not cut off, Ms. Jones over at Lower North may send 10, Mr. Hopkins over at South Loop may send 10, and well, Miss Johnson over at West Suburban didn't even know if she sent 10. That's 30 already. Because the queue was not telling them it's full.
Well, it'll show them how many people are there. I'm just not sure if we'll be able to make everybody understand that or adhere to that.
Well, we had that issue once with the CBOs on my watch, remember?
Yeah.
And that was in such small writing, I saw how they missed it, but it's something that I don't think it's something of this magnitude we can risk.
Can I ask a question pertaining to this? This is Joseph. Obviously, we do it completely different than what you guys do it, but it sounds like you're more worried about sending too many people to the CBO because you're basically able to pull people in on the fly. Wow.
No, we're concerned about the number of people that we can handle for orientation and random assignment. Remember, what we're doing is changing completely. We used to have everyone come into one central location, and now we've decentralized, and we have 6 intake locations that are being fed by 15. And so, or by, not 15, but potentially being fed by, that office and other offices. So we have to make sure that we can control how many people are being scheduled into the pod office, because we have a limited number of staff that can handle the volume.
Okay.
I would say for what I could do, I would need to talk to my programmers about it. But on the back end, on our side, you would have to tell us what is your capacity. Anybody who wants, let me put it this way: anybody who wants a capacity limit. This is what I would propose to our programmers. Anybody who wants a capacity limit, let us know specifically for that office. And I would think that we could put a capacity trigger limit thing on the back side for that specific office. And so whenever you come across this and you hover over it, and it said morning, say if I got up to, I don't know what else in here, but, let's say the morning session had 9 and that meant full, I could have the programmers put the word full after morning.
That would be great, because we'll need that for the 6 pod offices in Region 1 North and South.
But like I said, I'm only going to put the capacity limit in there for those people who tell me they want to have a capacity limit.
Okay.
And at least that's what I'm going to propose. And then I'd like to just keep it set at that, just because, I want to limit the amount of programmer time as possible on this.
Okay, and when would you need that by? Because I know we're doing a tester date on the 25th over here. And I'm pretty sure for Region 1 North, based on my test, that would be the numbers for each office.
Yeah, I mean, I just need to talk to my programmers first of all and see when we get it scheduled in, and how
Okay.
much time it's going to take to do it. I don't really think it's going to take that much time, but I've been wrong before.
Okay, well, if you just, I'm sure, if you just email us and let us know what you need, we'll get you what you need.
Yeah, I'll have Deidre. I'll work through Deidre.
Okay.
Thank you, Tasha. Sorry for the misunderstanding on that one.
No, it's fine. Okay, so I will talk to my programmers after we're done here to see timeline and, what's the best way to do that. So, okay, but Joseph, you had another question, I believe, about the drug test.
Yeah,
Is that right?
I went ahead and pulled it up on the person that I had in this week. The guy had answered because I know we've opened up that, didn't that question kind of change over time initially about the drug test back when we went to this new way of doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a gentleman who answered the question, yes, I am willing to make changes to be able to pass a drug test. And based on that, he wasn't recommended for the programs that he was trying for. So through, the after step 4, before step 5 began, we had the conversation with him about it. Here's your hard stop. Trying to make sure that he did answer the question 100% correctly, because sometimes wording can be where they're not for sure if they are, answering it the way that is, particular to their situation. So
that's that's an error on our part. So I need to talk to the programmers about that?
No. My question was, the only thing that would have opened up his eligibility would have been, yes, I am drug-free and can pass a drug test. Can we kind of get, this is just maybe too much for me asking, I guess. Like, on the side of it, for the certificate side of it, where people would be suitable, is there a way for us to know what the guidelines are on the drug test side of it that, I know you could probably potentially see it on whenever you're reviewing the programs. I'm not for sure if it's that detailed, though, as far as, does that make sense?
Let me see here. Yeah, I think so. What am I doing?
Because even whenever he was like, I've been drug-free for the past 30 days, but if you want to go back a full 120, I've not been drug-free. So we were able to amend it, kept him as not suitable. Basically what it came down to.
I see what you're saying. So
I was just wondering
what if we put,
that, so.
what if we put, okay, I'm on test. Slower. It's slow here. It's working on it. Here we go. Okay. I'm just going to pick one because, this is all, like I said, on test. So we get down to this. Must be currently drug-free and can pass must be drug-free at least 30 days prior to the time. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the application to see the corresponding question, exactly how it's worded, because I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I have it pulled up. I can read it to you.
Okay.
It's like some training programs and employers require you to be drug-free for 30 to 120 days. In those cases, they will require you to complete a drug test. Will you be able to pass a drug test? And there's 5 options there. And it's, I'm not interested in careers that require drug tests, and then all the ones that are, yes, I want to be able to pass a drug test, but I need help. Yes, I am willing to make changes to be able to pass a drug test, is what he initially had put. And then, yes, I have been drug-free for at least 30 days, which is what we changed it to. And finally, yes, I am drug-free and can pass a drug test. So on his suitability, whenever we amended it to the yes, I have been drug-free for that 30 days, he still didn't have any suitability.
Okay. Okay.
I was just wondering if
So-
maybe we can get a little bit more of a guideline on that for just our own purposes, because that was my first time that I actually had a person who answered that, you know, not that everybody's going to be like this, but some people aren't even going to be honest whenever it comes to that question, but he actually was. And it didn't allow him to even have a chance at the random assignment, which in the end may not have been right for him anyway based on conversations we had after the fact. But I was just kind of wondering as far as that. That was really my only kind of question that I had come up this week for the couple people that we got to randomly assign.
So as far as guidelines for the drug test, like what type of information would be most helpful? Would it be something that, like if we put like a text box on here that, you know, the CBO would put in like specifically what they're looking for? Or would it be something that is more general guidelines?
Well, I guess for looking at like his non-recommended training programs, like the only thing that was okay on the drug test, because this guy was a non-violent felony conviction, that also was kind of a couple hard stops there, was if he didn't have that, the only thing that I could see that's popping up that he would have been okay for with the way he answered that drug test question was certified medical billing and coding. But since he had the nonviolent felony conviction, he couldn't go forward with that. It was just more along the lines of what we have locally, and I was just trying to, without going in there and having the individual situation, I was just trying to ask and see if there's anything we could get rather than just be a case-by-case whenever, you know, after a person's completed an application. Because, you know, that step 3 is got good sets of circumstances on there, but it doesn't really hit them on the drug test side of it, that the guy basically expended, you know, 25 minutes going through the app and wasn't suitable for anything.
So we need to add more drug test questions to step 3, basically.
Maybe, but I don't
That
know.
would be
That's up to you
better.
guys. I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, the conversation has come up before, and I can't remember if it was specifically on the drug test or if it was on the conviction side of it. Yeah, because we just basically, we didn't do the 30 days. Either aren't, you know, interested.
Right. I mean, where if you break it down to individual situations, while he may be interested, could he pass a drug test today if they're looking back at his last 20 days? Well, he wouldn't have known that until he hit the application side of it. The whole idea of step 3, I thought, was to, you know, basically save them from having to do the applications if their circumstances, if one, they're not interested in any programs that's available, and then 2, their circumstances don't meet the suitability that we're looking for to even be randomly assigned.
So just to keep the list like at a, still keep it like at a minimal level, but like the next level of drug test, you know, like a, you know, because, so the main thing here is that, you know, we broke it out between sexual offender, violent and nonviolent, you know, as opposed to the findings, you know, some of the other little things. For the drug test one, I mean, would you be saying, like, what do you think would be most helpful? You know, I'm currently drug-free, or I can pass a drug test, or
This is a situation where, like, I think step 3, because it made it so much, I don't know how other people feel that are on this call, it made it a lot easier for us to be able to, like a lot of times in my orientations prior to step 3 changing to the way it is now, I would try to give, you know, you need to seriously be thinking on if you can pass a drug test, if you can pass this, if you can do that, because that's going to come into play on your suitability side of it. I even explain it in orientations now that, you know, step 3 and even step 4 are the times that your own circumstances truly come into play prior to random assignment, because once we are able to randomly assign you, none of that comes into play, where you've already met the suitability side of it, so it is a true 50-50, because at this point we have tons of slots to fill. So I don't know if it's one of those, maybe I'm 6 months in and you guys have been so great with that page that it's made me a little bit lazy. I don't know. Makes it a little bit more convenient to be able to, I pitch it as, if you have any interest at all, get to step 3, see the training program, see if there's anything here for you before you get up and walk out, because it is voluntary for you to complete this, to be in the EPIC pilot study. And to have a person go through step 3 and then step 4 and then get told, well, you're not even recommended, it was just kind of disheartening for how much better it is going through this process now. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was just trying to think of, ways to ask the the big. I guess we could just we have to look at the training program people, beside of it, the providers, and see what we can kind of get the most bang for the buck as far as the real estate is concerned. Just because I just was trying to keep the, this section not huge, so people actually read it and pick things,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because people are, it's happening.
But we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at,
and then seeing what pops up. And like I said before, we're having the issue, we've had this happen twice already, where people are actually even applying and answering the questions that the CBO is finding out about it, or they have to do all the stuff that's happening to them. So unfortunately, the study is going to be skewed in parts, and I'm sure that Deidre and all the other people kind of know that this is probably going to happen, hopefully a minimal amount. But, if we can at least try to weed certain people out initially, and that was not a pun, I swear, for all that, I swear it wasn't, that we could weed them out initially, it just kind of saves it for the time that we're putting into it, because, it's like a day like yesterday. We had 31 people invited, 3 people showed, nobody interested. We were out of there within 45 minutes. But on Tuesday, we had 26 people invited, 7 people showed, and then we slowly, as we went through the process, a couple people dropped, but we actually did have 3 people complete the process. It's just only 2 of them were able to be randomly assigned because the one got hard stopped after step 4. So it would just be nice, with the whole process, that for going through it, the more the better. We need people in this, so whatever helps, all about it. So.
Okay. Well, I will take a look at that, and I'm thinking that we could put it in either I'm not interested in drug careers that require a drug test, or I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it and come up with some wording and run it past you guys and see what you think, if the wording makes sense. Too, to also get your feedback on what is your, whenever you have people that, what is the most common type of answer, like the understanding, well, I can't, if I'm required to do the 120, then I'm not going to be able to pass it, or I don't know. Well, I'll take a look at it and put something together as far as possible solutions, as far as something to add to this page, and then
Natasha,
you guys can vote on it.
While you're thinking about that, and this is for Joseph too, what we have found up here, normally when you're running into the circumstances issue, and you have to go back and do any changes or re-questioning of the customer for clarity, it's normally 2 spots. So they may give you a clear answer under circumstances, but just like what you're talking about too, Joseph, you may have to see if they have a change under, I had to spot up earlier, but under potential barriers to employment as well. And if that gets cleared up, then sometimes they'll have options. It may be only 1 or 2, but then they'll have options. because sometimes it's not just the initial having a background, the conviction. That's not necessarily just it. Normally it's a combination of the two and having to unlock that the correct way to get them an option. Like they may say, okay, yeah, I can pass a drug test in 30 days or however they need to answer that, but if they still have drugs plus another barrier, those two barriers could be locking them out. And you need to get one clear. Or both if one of them is more detrimental than the other. We had that a couple of times when we were centralized over at 1642 before we moved.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's like.
No, they have to
it's
answer correctly, otherwise they just they're not eligible.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, what we found with one person who didn't understand the questions correctly, we asked, they cleared one up, and we thought, oh, they'll be eligible, and it was a no-go. And then we went to the second place. Well, I see this may be an issue. This is another hard stop. They cleared that up, and then things popped up. So I just want to say, Joseph, I love the work you're doing. I really have find you a high regard, but don't get stuck just in one place, because many times it's more than one place. You have to look before you're going to find out what's really going on, before the system is going to let you move forward.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Thanks.
But also remember, we want to try as much as possible to get as many through this as possible. And if individuals have barriers that a CBO can help them with, then we don't want, to lead, because that's not the point of it. Can someone please put their phone that's got that noise going? Thank you.
Didra, I didn't hear anything you just said.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I was just saying that we just also want to be very careful that we're not weeding people out that a CBO could potentially help. Because the whole point of the study is to help a population that has difficulty with employment and has barriers.
Hello?
The point of this is that we want to move them through CBOs that can help remove those barriers. That's the whole point of this. So it's not to get the most motivated and the easiest to go through the program, but the whole point of the research is to compare how does this whole EPIC process compare and help individuals who have difficulty getting employed and staying employed.
Right, and I'm 1,000% behind that. Like, my main thing is like just talking about the issue with, like what happened with Mr. Edwards. Like, that was the whole thing, was the barrier that he had with that question and the suitability being he had no option. And he was a nonviolent felony conviction person, which was nice for the option that he actually did have a couple things that would have popped up. It's just then he had another barrier, and that's where, that whole not recommended program thing came in. And I know we can't get past that because that obviously continuing to be a problem. So I fight tooth and nail. I try to get as many people as we can. It's just been a little rough here as of late. So
I know. And then we also have the issue where the person, they answer the exemption questions and they look like they're a perfect fit, and then we get them even sometimes through random assignment, and then they say, oh, but I'm taking care of someone. And, that, and I know we've all been through that one too, and then you say to yourself, oh my goodness, we screened you, we asked you all these questions, so sometimes with this population, you just never know.
Well, teacher, I want to ask, that little blurb that you just said, can you email that to me so I can remember to state that in staffing? Because some CBOs, I don't think are clear on that, and you just stated it beautifully.
I hope somebody taped it.
We have the recorded webinar, so.
Okay, so Mr. McMorris, Natasha taped this. You can go back and listen to the tape.
Okay, Natasha, I'm going to be calling you just so I can make sure I can get to record it correctly, but I'm definitely going to try and find it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So one other, I saw that there was a question that Vicki had about exporting the list for orientation. And let me go to, I'm on test, and I'm going to export this list. And the morning and afternoon piece is supposed to be in there, so let me just double check this one. We have the orientation session. Wait, what is it? Oh, orientation date. So let's see here. I can't remember who I scheduled here. Let me go to table editing. I think go to a recent one. Okay. Well, it's not in there, at least on test right now. So it's supposed to be in the export, and so I will talk to Cody to make sure that that gets in there.
So, Natasha, what were you trying to show us? Sorry.
Vicki had a question of when you export the list of the orientations, will it indicate if it's morning or afternoon? And the answer is supposed to be yes.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it needs to be added in there. So I'll talk to Cody after this.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm making a note for myself. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there was quite a comment. Yes, please, please do. I want also. So I didn't check to see when you had typed that in there, so I'm assuming it has to do with the export. If it's about something different, then please let me know. Were there any other questions or comments or? Well, if not, we'll go ahead and close our session for today. Just wanted to kind of let everyone know as well that we will have a whole new batch of people that will be joining us for the technical assistance webinars, and I'm not sure if that'll start next week or the following week. But there were a lot of people who Dee's been working on training up in Chicago. And so, you know, what we'll still want to go through and, you know, make sure that our advanced users, we call you guys the advanced ones, the people have been doing this for a while, to go ahead and, you know, we'll go through updates and, you know, answer, you know, any questions and identify anything that at least that we've seen, you know, that's come up during the week that, you know, we needed to provide some direction or respond to, I guess I should say. And then after that, again, we'll open it up for questions so that, you know, if we have, like I said, we have a lot of new people, and if we're covering information that is, you know, kind of old news to you, then, you know, at that time you can feel free to, you know, and, you know, get off the webinar if you wanted to. But we will start out with updates and any issues or comments or something like that, observations that we've had for the week. So I see that Chris is typing. Oh, okay. Well, we'll miss you. You lucky one. So, okay. Well, everyone have a great week. And again, if you have any questions, get epic@illinoisworknet.com. Was it another question or comment? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.